is Life After Sports with Kevin Johnson. And tonight our theme is called The Retirement Life. And no other than our special guest, we got Donald Thomas in the house, former NFL player and currently franchise owner, entrepreneur, and as well as a football trainer. So, man, I appreciate it. This is episode 11. Man, I had an episode last night. Then with you tonight, man, is back-to-back greatness.
Back-to-back. You're working out here. I see you.
Man, I'm working, man. So I appreciate you taking the time to get on here. I know you got a busy schedule with family and everything, but I appreciate you taking the time to get up on here tonight.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you.
So, man, with that being said, man,
So I appreciate you having me.
Oh, no, absolutely, man. So for those of you, I know a lot of people know who you are. I just want to get into the nitty-gritty tonight, man. Learn a little bit more about you, life with football, life a little bit outside of football, and talking about your entrepreneur and your endeavors. So with that being said, the conversation is going to go from pre-career, in career, and then we're going to talk about your post-career. Where did you grow up? Where did you grow up? Where were you born? Talk about your childhood a little bit.
I'm from the great state of Connecticut. I was born in New Haven, Connecticut. I'm actually in Connecticut right now at my parents' house. My mom's turning 70 this weekend, so I'm here celebrating with her. But I grew up in Connecticut, grew up in Bridgeport, and then we moved to West Haven, Connecticut, where I went to high school in New Haven. Regular student growing up, played basketball and baseball. Went to UCONN as a regular student. And so we can kind of transition into college if you want, but my roots is all Connecticut. So, born and raised.
All Connecticut.
All Connecticut, yeah. Stayed in state for college and everything.
Okay, that's what's up, man. How influential was your parents in you growing up? Influential in your life?
Oh, very much so. I mean, my mom was she was a school teacher in the same city in Bridgeport where me and my sister went to school, and then she became a principal when I was in about sixth grade. So, she knew all the teachers, so we couldn't mess up because they would, make a phone call, and then, and when she became a principal, she knew all the principals, so she knew our principals. So she was just honest about education more so than, sports and stuff like that. So, there was many times I missed a baseball game, I missed a basketball game because she just was on me about, having my work done. And my father, he backed her. He was a hard worker. He worked for the Boy Scouts, so he worked in New York City, so he would commute every day. So he had long hours to get up, and he'd leave the house at about 6 a.m, come back at 11 o'clock at night. And so he was just every day. So the commute and everything. And you look back on it, and realize like, man, that was a crazy schedule, but he did what he had to do. So but they were really honest about. Yeah, academics and just kind of striving to be better than who they were.
Yeah, and talk about sacrifices. Sacrifices from, and now you're a parent, you have custody of both your kids, but being able to be here, work, come home, take care, do schoolwork, make sure they're good, then make sure they're fed. Then it's a whole lot.
That's a whole nother full-time job within itself. You try to, the hardest part is finding that even balance, right? So it's like, it's almost, impossible to give everybody the same kind of prescription that you have, but it's just like, you have to be able to find out how to go to work, how to be, always there for your kids, to be attentive, to be, nurturing, but at the same time, like not let your work slip, because that's what's allowing you to put food on the table. So it's one of those things where I've had to make adjustments, like when in my 30s, when I was, granted custody of them, that it was like, okay, well, everything you were doing before, you can't do that stuff anymore just because you don't have the time. Now you have your kids all the time, so it's kind of more so like, you just have to find, like, you have to, and it's a learning process every single day. Literally, you learning different ways on how to be a better parent, how to, spend your time wisely and all that, especially with this whole quarantine thing. We were home all day, and
this is something that I've never seen before. Point blank. I mean, many of us haven't seen it before, and it's totally different in regards to dealing with having your kids and make sure they're on their laptops doing what they got to do. But happy belated Father's Day.
Oh man, appreciate it. Thank you. I appreciate that.
And then your mom is turning 70. My dad's turning 60 this weekend. So tell moms
Okay.
happy birthday.
I will. I'll let her know. I'll let her know. I surely will.
So let's talk about sports, man. When did you start picking up a football, or did you play any other sports before you started playing football?
Yeah, so I played baseball and basketball growing up. Like that was like my predominant sports. I love baseball more than anything. I still do love baseball more than anything, but I always wanted to play football, but my mom wasn't having it. She would, she would say she didn't want to, see the same people that she has to go to work with out there on Saturdays, and so I kind of just. But as I grew up, I found out she's just being like super overprotective of me, and
Yeah.
so that was one of the things where I just developed a love for baseball and basketball more so than football, and it was like by the time that it was time for me to be able to play football when I got to high school, I just was like, I went to a high school that didn't have a football team, so let's start there as well.
Wow. Wow.
So yeah, we still to this day they don't have a football team, but I just concentrated on baseball and basketball because that's what I love. So I wasn't like it was like a deal breaker for me, or I was like heartbroken because I couldn't play football. I just had never played, and I didn't, I went to school that didn't have a football team, and I was just like, whatever, I'm just gonna play baseball and basketball. And then once I finally got through high school and went to UCONN, and I knew that baseball wasn't going to work out, and I knew basketball for sure wasn't working out to play. At UCONN, they were like number one in the country back then.
Yeah.
I was just a regular student going to school, going to class, and it was just like it wasn't enough. I wasn't used to that. I was always used to kind of being like like that star athlete, kind of being the one that was always the just kind of having some purpose. I'm not saying not being a regular student I didn't have purpose, but it just was a different pill. It was a tough pill to swallow, just because I just felt like I had more to give. And so, walking around campus, I met a few of the football players, and they couldn't believe I went to school there. And they were telling me I should play football. I'm like, that's crazy. I Division I football program, never played before. Like, that's almost impossible. But I was like, you know what? It's definitely possible. It's definitely something that I could do. And so once I went home for Christmas break, and I just thought about it, talked with my parents, talked with my friends, everybody was like, yo, just go do it. And so I was like, all right, whatever, I'm gonna go do it. And so I went and just started working out, and finally, got a chance to meet Coach Etzel, who's the current coach still at UConn now. He left and came back, but it was kind of a crazy story how I met him.
Wow.
I was at school lifting every single day, right? And one day I'm in the student gym, and I'm looking out the back windows, and I see him running on the track. And at this point, it was getting closer towards the end of the semester, my freshman year, second semester, getting close to spring break time. And so I was like, you know what? I'm about to go talk to him right now. And I'm like, I dropped everything, put the weights down. I sprinted out the front of the student gym, and you had to run through this little breezeway that kind of took you in between Gamble Pavilion and the student gym to the back of the building. So I'm sprinting because I saw he was coming off the track. I didn't want to miss him. So he's coming up the track. He was doing some running. I ran up to him like, I'm out of breath at this point. I'm like, I just run up on him. Like, he has no idea. I'm like, Coach Essel, I want to introduce myself. My name is Don Thomas. I go to school here. I want to try to walk onto the football team. But at that point, he's trying to really kind of decipher what I'm saying to him at the same time. Like, who is this big kid running up on me that I don't know about? And he's kind of, he's saying he goes to school here. Like, how do I not know? So he looked at me. He said, the first thing he said, he's like, you go to school here? And I was like, yes. He was like, currently, right now? And I was like, yes, I'm a freshman. He was like, okay. He was like, come into the football office and we'll set something up for you. So I said, okay. So I went back in. So by this time, I looked at with a group of friends. So they're looking because they could see everything going on through the window. So they're looking at so I come back in there. And I'm like, I get my stuff. I'm out. They're like, what? What'd you say to him? Like, what did he say? I told him what happened. I'm like, he told me to come to the football office right now. Yeah, because I'm grabbing my stuff at this point. And they're like, where are you going? I'm like, man, they told me to come to the football office right now. I'm going. I'll talk to y'all later. I'll call you later, whatever.
Later.
So I go in there. Yeah. So I go in there, and they, I guess the Coach Etzel had told some of the coaches that this kid ran into him, and he told him to come in. So by the time I came in, I talked to the football operations, head of football operations, and he was at his desk, and I was like, hey, Coach Etzel told me to come in. He said that, he was doing something set up for me. By that time, all the coaches had kind of started peeking their heads out their offices and stuff. And so they were originally put me on defense. So the D coordinator and the linebackers coach came out, but the D coordinator was also the D line coach.
Okay.
So so they came out and they were like, well, we're gonna get you a workout like next week. Like they're kind of excited, like because they couldn't believe that I, went to school there, blah blah blah. So I'm like, all right. So I had my workout, killed the workout, ran like 240s, a whole bunch of like different agility drills and stuff like that. And they just told me, they were like, we're gonna let you walk on to the football team. They're like,
I was about to say, first of all, people don't understand, like walking on any basketball team is not basketball. I walked on basketball, but you talking about football. Walking on at any Division I program or Division II program, point blank period, you don't get the opportunity for that. So the fact that you were able to go Division I program, run up to the coach and was like, Coach, can I get an opportunity? And you be able to get the opportunity to get on the team, that's big.
Yeah. I mean, I just saw that window. Like, I had never seen him on campus before. I had never seen him besides, on the sideline for football games, So when I saw him, I said, this is my opportunity. Like,
you gave him your 2-minute elevator speech.
I had to. And I was thinking of it as I was running. Like, I didn't know what I was going to say. I was like, whatever comes out has to be from the heart. He has to understand. I think he understood, like, when I was looking at him, like, how, like, genuine I was, like, how bad I wanted it, like how much, like, I felt it. Like I think he felt that. I personally, honestly, me and him had never talked about that day.
Yeah.
But, like, he knows it happened. Obviously, I know it happened, and that's the reason why I'm here now, So,
yeah.
But it was just one of those opportunities where I saw that window, and I said, I got to take it right now.
Yeah. And look, man, life is all about opportunities. If you see the opportunity to go and seize it. A lot of times people, we're nervous, we make decisions, and we're like, I don't want to go and put my foot forward because I don't know what the outcome is going to be. So for you to have that guts to say, look, I don't have nothing to lose. I'm just going to go introduce myself and see where it goes. It has actually set yourself or propel yourself for where you are today. So, talking about that, let's talk about your years that you played in the NFL, the 8 years that you played in the NFL. What was the most exciting thing for you while in the league?
Honestly, it was just a surreal experience because I wasn't supposed to be there. Like, I know it was God's plan, but, in hindsight of it all, every kid grows up starting from Pee Wee football trying to make it to the league, right? And so I started at 18 years old, and 4 years later, here I am getting drafted, starting as a rookie.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't have that. I didn't foresee that when I walked on the campus at UConn. I didn't think that was going to be a possibility. I didn't. So, like, when it all kind of happened, it just happened so fast. Like, I mean, even like from me, walking onto the football team at UConn to my, really my sophomore year, to redshirting that year, to being on special teams my junior year, just setting a wedge on kickoff return, to my senior year, only starting one game the end of the season, but my coach gave me a scholarship for my senior year and asked me to come back for a fifth year. That was crazy within itself, right? Now I'm like, when my parents don't have to take out loans and all this stuff, to coming back for a fifth year, starting the 12 games and the bowl game and getting invited to the combine, first team all Big East, going to East-West Shrine game. And then, before you know it, I got agents calling me and signing with the agent, training for the combine. It was crazy. So it was just like, the whole experience was like, when people ask me, like, what's my favorite, like, the whole ride was an experience like no other that I never saw myself having, or I even, portrayed, or just really felt like that was something that I had always, like, aspired to like obtain. Like, so it was something where it was happening so fast. Yeah. And I was just like, all right, well, boom, you throw this at me, I got to do this. I got to make the best out of this, like, act like I've been here before, or rise to the occasion right away. So just the experience of being there, playing with, with great players, like on my team, my rookie year, we had the #1 overall draft pick in Jake Long from Michigan, tackle. And me and him are starting as rookies on the offensive line. And that was a big deal about, two rookies starting, for the Dolphins. Hadn't happened in like 15 years, to, blocking for Ricky Williams and Ronnie Brown. Ricky Williams, Heisman Trophy, one of the most controversial running backs of all time. But honestly, when you block for him and you play for him, you see that he's probably one of, in my opinion, Ricky was one of the best running backs that I've ever seen in my life, period.
Yeah.
Ronnie wasn't too far away from him. And, just being there, being in, just taking it all in, being 22 years old in Miami from Connecticut.
Yeah.
To playing in New England with Tom Brady and blocking for Tom Brady and being with Brady every day, to playing in the Super Bowl, to, signing with, the Colts and testing the free agency market and picking and choosing where I want to go. Just like, I don't know, 6 years ago, you were supposed to be probably graduating from college and living with your parents and for a couple of years and trying to figure out what's your next move, So just like, here I am in Miami, Florida.
Yeah.
So
that's that transition is, and people don't understand it comes quicker than you really expected when you're senior year, getting recruited, agents are calling your family. This is a new process for you, so you don't really know what's supposed to happen, how I'm supposed to make these choices or make these decisions, but making them along the way, and then just learn to just figure this out. And so, it's interesting to hear that. Now, in regards to your career, like, what was the most humbling experience that you witnessed while in your career? Like the most humbling, like something that happened or whatever that was the most, it made you just be like in awe, like, wow, I'm here.
Honestly, being drafted. I just felt like at that moment, all the determination, the hard work, the doubters, the naysayers, all the times when I put in all that extra work and didn't go on spring breaks or, stayed up at school, when guys would go home and still continue to work out, and to, have Bill Parcells call my phone and tell me that the Miami Dolphins want to draft me, and seeing my name go across the screen and everyone us all jumping up and down and just kind of taking it all in. And I didn't get big headed off of it. I kind of was just like, okay, like, all that hard work paid off. It was for something,
Paid off.
And it was like, but I can't stop now. Like, what I'm saying? I've gotten this far, but I can't throw this opportunity away. It was one of those things where I just was like, I was excited. I was happy that all this was happening at the time, but at the same time, I knew that there was so much more, given with this opportunity that I had been blessed with. So it was just like one of those things where I never took it for granted. I never took being in the NFL for granted. Never took, being a starter for granted. Never took any of those opportunities for granted. And I think that's the reason why, because I wasn't the most talented guy.
Yeah.
I wasn't the best guard. Hell, I only played, started 13 games before I was starting in the NFL total. And some of these guys have played hundreds of games, started hundreds of games in their whole games, 13. And I'm starting in the NFL, and I only started 13 games in college. Man. Of my whole life, though, not just college, whole life. So,
that's crazy because you did not play football until you got to college. Mm-hmm. Like organized football until you got to college.
Yeah, just two-hand touch or tackle football, outside with my friends, in the middle of the street kind of deal. But nothing organized, like no pads, and it's just like one of those things where you got to pick up quick and you got to watch the older guys who can't make mistakes, because if I make a mistake and I don't get out of here, this guy makes a mistake, the guy they really want there, they'll work with him. So that was always my mentality, like you can't mess up. You can't.
Well, I definitely can say you're blessed, and it definitely, I see people put it in the comments, it was God's plan, like absolutely. Yeah. And I agree with that. Now, talking about, I know you've being in the league for 8 years, you've come across a lot of coaches, a lot of people who've been influential or people who mentored you. Did anybody give you any sound advice that you still remember to this day that may have stuck out?
There's two people that gave me really great advice, and the first was Bill Parcells. He was our VP at the time when I got drafted to Miami, and I got hurt my rookie year, and so when they put me on IR, I had foot surgery, and so me and Bill Parcells would lift every day during practice. Me and him would be in the weight room, we'd be lifting. He would And it was kind of, at first it was awkward because, you know, it's Bill Parcells. Like, everybody knows who Bill Parcells is. It's like,
Yeah.
people, he
Yeah.
comes around, everybody's like, uh-oh. Like, you know, and I was always just calling him coach, but me and him developed a relationship just from lifting weights. And he would just tell me, like, give me insight about, you know, like, he would ask me, like, how much money do you have in the bank right now? Like, literally, and I would give him a real number. And he'd be like, that's good. He's like, you need to hold on to that. He was like, you know, like, because the thing is, you're 22 years old, Donald, and in 10 years, the guys that you went to college with, they're going to be making the money that you're making now, and you're not going to be making the money that you're making now. So you have to figure out how to create longevity of your money that you obtain. And so, you know, you're 22 and then you're in Miami. You're really trying to get, you know, you're like, listen, I'm trying to get to South Beach. I'm trying to, you know, go have fun. And it was like another father figure over
Father
his
figure.
shoulder. Like, listen,
Yeah.
you need to be smart about this. So that was you know, all the insight that he gave me, all those times that we were lifting together, and I just listened to him, and still sticks with me, stuck with me through my whole career, still sticks with me today.
Yeah.
And it was great. It was a blessing for me to be able to sit and talk with him, and just me and him in the weight room by ourselves was just surreal within itself. And then Brian Waters, you know, should be a guard, you know, played. I don't want to disrespect Brian, but I think he played about 13 or 14 seasons, mostly for the Chiefs. And
Yeah.
then when I got to New England, he was a starting guard in New England, and he just kind of took me under his wing, and he just gave me a lot of insight just off the field stuff, you know, like just about how to
Yeah.
be a better man. Like, him and his wife had 6 kids, and he was,
Wow.
and I was just getting ready to have we were getting ready to have my son at the time, and you know, he just gave me insight on how to be like a father figure, a good father, and, you know, things to do. And we always would just talk about this, not football. And he told me about relationships, how you have to have relationships with, you know, your teammates, and how, you know, things are going to play out, how, you know, like, the bonds kind of slowly separate as you know, fade away from the league. And I just looked at him and laughed, and I swear he mapped it out, and it happened. But me and him still keep in contact because we developed a great bond, great chemistry. But
Yeah.
he just had a lot of insight, man. He was a great, you know, player for a young guy to be around. He was a great
Yeah.
role model for me.
Man. And for me, I think it's always great to have great mentors. You know, people that you latch on, no matter what your career is. That if you have somebody that you could be able to bounce ideas off of and be able to, you know, they've probably been ahead or way in front of the road that you're about to travel, and it probably can help you make less mistakes by just listening. And
Yeah.
so I had asked another a person that I had on the interview about the mentorship, like how does it happen in the league, and some of it is authentic, and then, you know, some guys, you know, it's a brotherhood, but then when people retire, they leave, it becomes like no more phone calls, not really checking
Yep.
up on people. And I know it's an adjustment because you're adjusting to life, you're adjusting to life without sports and trying to figure out how things work. So going into the next segment, you know, while you were playing in the NFL, did you ever think about what my life is going to be after football, life after sports?
You know, as I got older, I did not really. When I
While you were
first got in
playing?
the league, like, you don't see it ever ending. You don't see your money running out. You don't see, you know, there's no, I'm not going to get hurt. It's in the back of your mind, right? Like, it could happen, but it's not going to happen. But as I got older, as I crept towards 30, um, I started to kind of think about, you know, the other side of the game, and transition from being in the game to out the game. And I think what really helped me to be able to transition was, you know, getting that big injury that I took in Indianapolis, and really kind of knowing my body, and kind of knowing that I wasn't going to be the same after that, knowing that my knee wasn't going to be the same. And I really started thinking about, well, I need to make sure that I, you know, have some type of financial preservation set aside for myself, as well as start thinking of things to do once football's over with, because it's probably most likely going to be it for you. And, you know, I
Yeah.
didn't give up, but I just knew that even if I were to make a 100% recovery, I wasn't going to be 100% pre-injury from that injury I sustained. But So I started thinking about the game probably with, after like year 7,
Yeah.
really started thinking about what I'm going to do with my time, where do I want to live, what I want to, where do I want to put the kids in school, just about, just things that you start thinking about, that, the end is near.
Yeah.
And so I think that's when I really started thinking about
Yeah.
making that transition.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Now, during your retirement, let's talk about. So we talked about the thought process of, year 7, year 8. Hey, this may be coming to end based on my injury. But during your retirement, discuss with us like things that happened or things that have taken place, and why it's so important, and hence the reason the name of the show, Life After Sports, because we're talking about the transition that happens. A lot of players careers end abruptly. They may not have a season, injury for 6-7 years, and then that last year,
Right.
that could be it. You don't get your contract renewed or whatever the case may be. So, in regards to the retirement life that we're talking about here on this podcast today, tell us like what are the things that transpired, throughout your retirement life, and how being able to adjust to the different things of life.
Yeah.
In regards to the
Well,
second career.
yeah. I mean, it's a huge transition, right? So literally, like the day that you're out the league is when it begins. Like there's no transition period. There's no like, okay, we'll ease you into it. It's just like, boom, that door slams, and you're looking back like, okay, now I got to figure this whole thing out. And so it's just one of those things where it's like, okay, well, I'm out. I'm not going back in. And now
Yeah,
I need to figure out how do I make this thing work, period.
yeah,
And I just think that, the best thing for me was having my kids at the time. Literally
yeah.
like, excuse me, when the coach released me, I literally, got back in the truck, drove back home, and I was like, I was cool with it. Like I was okay. Like I was fine with, knowing that it was over with. Like,
Yeah.
and I just didn't. My agent called me, and I literally had stopped at CVS, and I was getting ready to get something. I forgot what I was picking up, but I was like pulled up, and he was like, "Hey, the Giants want to bring you in for a workout." I can't remember what other team, and I was just like, "Don't worry about it, man. I just need a second. Like I need to go home. I just need to chill. I need to let my knee get better. I can't put myself back out there." Came home and kicked a soccer ball with my son in the backyard, and didn't miss a beat. But literally, when I came back inside, I started going through the franchise opportunities that I had been thinking about.
Yeah.
And so I literally went in my office. I had done a little bit of research on Rita's Italian Ice, which are my franchisee now, currently. And I started looking at all the paperwork and making some phone calls literally like that same day. And I just got the
Wow.
ball rolling. Like I didn't wait. Like I didn't say, okay, I'll do it next week. I'll just chill and, play video games and play with the kids. Like I was like, all right, I'm about to get busy. I'm about to get active now because I had already kind of started transitioning my mind, especially during training camp that year, that this
Gotcha.
is probably what's going to be it. You need to start thinking about it. I really don't. I want to be able to play another season, but with the way my knee is right now, I can't put my knee through that again. But at the end of the day, it's like you
Yeah.
walk away from this money that they're trying to offer you as well. That's on the
Yeah.
table. Like you're not going to
Yeah.
voluntarily just walk away from it. Some guys financially can, some guys can't, right? Like an
Yeah.
Andrew Luck situation, he can walk away,
Yeah.
but other guys like me who came in as a 6th-round draft pick, making league minimum my first few years to finally signing a nice contract when I got to Indianapolis. But I'm storing this away for a rainy day for later on. So
Yeah.
I haven't been making tens and twenties and millions of dollars like some guys that are blessed to in their career. I'm the other 80%
Yeah.
of the league where we're trying to obtain those kind of contracts. So I was like, I can't walk away from this money. By the end of the day, God, I can't put my knee through it. And so it's kind of a
Yeah.
blessing when they released me because I said, I don't know if my knee would have made it.
Yeah.
So literally, like I started that same day as I started. I came home, played with my son, played with my daughter, and I got shaken on the franchisee. Stuff with Rita's.
So I was gonna say, why Rita's? I want to know why Rita's.
Why Rita's? Everybody asks me that. Why Rita's? Why Rita's? So Rita's. So okay. So let's start. All right. Let's start here. So I'm lactose intolerant, right?
Okay.
So you know, I like ice cream, but then after a while, it just got to the point where I couldn't have ice cream anymore. So I
Gotcha.
need another alternative from ice cream. So when I was home, I would go to Rita's because Rita's had Italian ice, and it had, they offered all these different flavors every day, and it was something that I could have as a sweet treat that I didn't have to worry about, having some issues afterwards. So it was one of those things where I just kind of fell in love with Rita's, and so and I knew that the brand is strong here on the East Coast, right? The
Gotcha.
brand is strong here, especially in the Northeast. It's from Philly. It's huge in Pennsylvania, huge in Jersey, New York, Connecticut, Delaware, Maryland, huge, right? They know Rita's like they know the Cold Stones and the Dairy Queen, stuff like
Yep.
that. So there's no oh, what is Rita's? Like, so, but
Yeah.
when I'm in the Midwest, everybody's like, what is Rita's? And I'm like, how do you not know? Okay, don't. So it was one of those things where I was thinking like, well, what can I have when I
Don't know.
come home? Yeah. So it's like, what can I have when I come home that I know everybody loves, that I know people will love here? I just need to
Yeah.
get it to them. And so Rita's was like number one on my list. And so it was one of those things where I was like, I know it can't fail because it's such a good product and I believe in the product. I wouldn't put my money and my time and effort into something that I didn't believe in. So I decided
Yeah.
to, run with Rita's, and it was like something that was I looked at as kind of being an easier kind of operation to run. There wasn't any, you know, meat that could spoil or grease and all this kind of stuff, and
Yeah.
huge overhead, and it kind of all just kind of like aligned together, and it just was an easy transition for me to. And I knew the products. I knew the products
You knew the
too.
product. Yeah.
Yeah,
And that's the
so
big
it's
thing. You knew the product.
right. Yeah. So I knew that once people got it, once people tasted it one time, they're like, oh, okay. And that's all. And I tell people all the time, just taste it. Just come in, just taste it.
Taste
I
it.
guarantee you'll find something you love because there's a lot of different things on the menu. You know.
And that's what's up. So talking about any other entrepreneurship things that you're doing as well, along with Rita's.
So I mean I've kind of been trying to diversify, right? So
Yeah.
I got involved in insurance
Okay.
the beginning of this year, and so I got my insurance license.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Appreciate that. Appreciate that. And so I've been doing some insurance work as of late, as well as I'm getting ready to take my Series 65 uh, financial financial planner exam next month. So
That's what's up, man. Can you hear me?
yeah, I hear you. You hear me?
My bad. Yeah, I can hear you now. Sorry, you
Yeah.
went in and out.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I got offered a job to be a financial advisor at a financial firm here in Indianapolis
Oh,
back
wow.
in February. So everything kind of started happening right behind themselves at the beginning of the year. So I'm ready to take my exam here in July. So I'm excited about that. So I've been doing that as well as I've been an offensive line football trainer for the past almost 2 years now.
Oh, that's what's up.
So I've been training some college guys and a lot of high school kids. Just coaching them up. A lot of them just giving them kind of more so not just technique stuff, but just more insight on the game and
Yeah.
giving them my knowledge and my experience. And so
Well,
it's been kind of a blessing to be able to work with those kids too.
yeah, and your knowledge and experiences is a lot. From not only from the NFL experience, playing college, and then also on the franchise ownership business. And I'm having different conversations with different guys, and some of them may be watching, different viewers that are either currently playing as a professional athlete or are retired, and they're trying to figure out what is that next step. Like, what is it? I've held my money along for a long time. I'm trying to educate myself on what avenues work best for me, and it's never like a complete answer, but I know that there's guys who they can be able to learn from you, or if you have any advice for any professional athlete that's been not certain on what avenue to go, what advice would you give them?
So I'm glad you asked me that question. And the best advice that I can give that I wish I had taken advantage of, and I wholeheartedly mean this, and I really hope somebody watches this and really takes the advice, is don't wait. Don't wait. Like, if you are interested in something, or you don't know what you want to do after football, or after any sport, after whatever sport that you're in, get involved with it now. Like, don't put it off to learn about it once you're out, because like I said before, when that door closes and you're on the outside looking in, there's no help anymore.
Yeah.
There's no one's going to call you up and make sure that you've gotten to your appointment. No one's going to make sure that that you're studying for this exam, or no one's going to make sure that your money's okay, but yourself. So don't wait. Like, right now, and I know, I listen. I like, and that's why I say, like, I've been there. Like, I understand. Like, you worked all season. It's a long grind. You're ready to get to Vegas. You're ready to get to Cancun. You're ready to take your trip and just relax. I get it.
Yeah.
But when you get back, you have got to do something to prepare for the future. You have to. Like, it is imperative, because, everybody doesn't leave the game with tens of millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Baseball, basketball, they don't. Like, and like the household names are those guys that can do that. But for the most part, 80%, 85% of us ball players, you have to get involved with something. You have to start your after sports career while you're still playing, because you don't know when it's going to be over. You don't know. Like, my career, like, I didn't think that I had signed a 4-year contract. I get hurt in year 1 of my 4-year contract. I was blessed to still stick around for a couple more years, but I never played after that. My body didn't allow me to get back on the field, and that was the end of my career.
Yeah.
But I still was on the team for a couple more seasons, but I just couldn't get back right, And so it's one of those things where you don't know when it's going to be over with, and you don't want to be caught with your pants down, literally, because at the end of the day, it's like, no one's going to take care of you. No one's going to make sure that you're okay. You have to do that for yourself. And don't be blinded by this bank account and what it looks like right now, because I promise you, I've been there.
Yeah.
It can be here today and gone tomorrow,
And gone tomorrow. And so my thing is, and I'm on the outside, so I'm not playing professional. I haven't played no professional sports, but I've done management for athletes in regards to management, marketing, branding, that type of stuff. Brand development, like helping them have a infrastructure of what they would like their brand to look like while they're playing and after they're playing. And I think it's so, I don't know, and you could tell me this may help me. How while you were playing, did you have anybody that was able to maybe give you some ideas or point you in the right direction or educate you? I know a lot of times you're an athlete, everybody got their hands stretched out. Yeah, give me money, give me this, give me that, give me that. But if I can be able to give information and help you make an informed decision, I think it's way better than just what people have their hands in outreach. And I know it's business, so at the end of the day, but I think the education, like being able to help guys understand who they are in regards to identity and figuring out what they would like to, what their hobbies are. What are you really interested in?
Right.
What is your identity outside of football? And I think sometimes you need to learn that while playing and not wait.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. And it's not just, identifying your brand for others, but identifying your brand for yourself, because like a lot of us athletes
For yourself,
really
yes.
haven't had, right. Yeah. Because a lot of us athletes haven't had a chance to really figure out who we are, because we've always just been who everyone has given us, we've always been who everyone has perceived us to be. And I don't know, so everyone's like, oh, this is a star athlete. And from high school, from even grade school to get middle school to high school to college, you've always been this heralded athlete where everyone's like, that's so-and-so, and he's going to the league and blah, blah, blah. And so you just kind of fall into that role of, yeah, that's who I am. And then when you get to be 30, 32 years old and you're no longer that person and you're just a regular guy that needs to go to work every day and you don't know who you are. You know what I'm saying? So it's important for guys to first understand who they are, right?
Yeah.
Have someone in their corner that's going to make sure that they stay grounded, stay focused, and stay level-headed. And then after that, they need to figure out a plan and execute it.
Yeah.
Because the last thing you want to do is to, be that guy that ends up as a statistic of being broke, divorced, or a combination of both of them. And so, and that's one thing that they sit there and they tell you about, but guys are so blunt. It's not going to be me. It's not going to be me. It's not going to be me. And I'm out the league, and in 2 years, I'm divorced, and I'm, and it's just like, oh, I'm kind of falling into that category already. And so it's one of those things where, okay, well, now you need to figure things out. Luckily, I had already started to figure things out with, my business and stuff like that, and getting, dibbling, dabbling into different avenues of creating revenue for myself. But you have to understand who you are, what field you want to be involved with, and kind of while you're playing, use that platform. Yeah. Use the platform while you're playing. Of this is Joe Schmo that plays for the Colts or plays for the Redskins, and network with people that are in those fields because they want to work with professional athletes. So now you have a chance to
correct, and the resources are they're
there.
My bad, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I was saying the resources are there. Like the resources are on the height of your career at that time. When you're finished playing, the phone calls are a little bit different, and the resources and people picking up the phone and want to call you back is a little bit different than when you're not playing anymore and you're in the retirement side of life. So, when you're able to gravitate their attention at the height of your career, that's the best time.
Absolutely. I mean, because like you said, those phone calls sound different when you're out the league, unless you're like some star, like the star player that everybody still wants to be associated with. Like, especially for me, like my position, offensive lineman, like we're not the prettiest guys to look at. We're not the, so like for us, like we need to take, advantage of our connections and our platform while we still have it, because when the floor is gone, you don't have the floor anymore. Somebody else has the floor. And now you're on the outside, like with your hand up, like, hey, remember me? And they're like, well,
remember me.
We got somebody over here that we really want to work with. And it's like, so while people really want to still work with you, network with you, and you have all those opportunities, you have to take advantage of them. And I didn't take advantage of as many opportunities as I should have. Now, granted, luckily, I've been in some positions where I've met people that still, want to work with like a professional athlete, or just good, genuine people, or I have the ability to know how to talk with people to find different connections. And so, that's one thing that I'm very fortunate and blessed to say I've made some great connections. But, it's not about with your hands out. It's just about making connections with people, because people want to work with professional athletes just as much as you would like to work with like professional, successful business people, because honestly, they're professionals in their profession,
Correct. So my question to you in sidebar. So when are you going to bring Ritas down here in South Florida?
Man, so there's been a couple that have tried, and I don't know if it's too hot or what, but they just stick around.
Is the market just different?
Yeah, it's different, man. It's different. It's you know how South Florida is a melting pot, and so it's just kind of like it's hard to say, oh, this is going to do well when necessarily someone who might just be stuck on a certain type of ice cream or whatever. It's just different down there. It's hard.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I thought about it, but no, I'll stay in the Midwest.
Well, look, man, I appreciate you taking the time to get on the show, man. If there's anything else, I think you gave us a lot of gems. You gave us some advice as well in regards to, taking care of your business and understanding who you are and identifying your purpose. And I think our viewers that were on here, I think they got a lot of great nuggets from you. So, I mean, if you have something else to give us as an advice to our viewers, but I think you hit everything on the head, with all the knowledge that you gave us.
Yeah, I mean, just like the last thing that I can say is if it doesn't have to be to an athlete, or if you want something bad as you say that you want it, don't let anybody detour you from that, and do as much as you can and explore every avenue and exhaust every resource to obtain your goal. Because at the end of the day, you only get one shot at this whole deal. Just like I got one shot at playing football, You only get one shot at life. And so if you miss your opportunity, you're going to be on the sideline of life looking like what it could have, should have, and it could have, should have been you, you know?
Yeah.
So that's my advice is if you want something that as bad as you say you do, go get it. Go get it. Don't let anybody detour you from it, and humble yourself and be willing to, you know, just be humble enough to accept help, and just be willing to, you know, take advice. It's not gonna be easy to do, but just do that, because at the end of the day, there's people that know what they're talking about, and surround yourself with good people. And at the end of the day, you do all those things, you know, keep God first, pray on it, make the right decisions, you'll be fine.
Yeah. Well, man, I appreciate you taking your time and coming up on my podcast, man. I really appreciate it. This is Life After Sports with Kevin Johnson. I appreciate you, Donald Thomas, for being a part of this show.
I
And
appreciate
man,
it,
until
man.
next time, my brother, I appreciate you. Huh?
I said I appreciate it, man. Thank you for having me.
Can you hear me?
You know, this is, yeah. I said, you know, I appreciate any, you know, and I thank you for having me. Anytime I can, you know, help out or give my 2 cents of wisdom, you know, I'm more than willing to do it. So thank you.
Man, I appreciate it, man. This won't be the last time you hear from me, and I got to make sure I get you one of these shirts, man.
Yeah, you need to send one over, brother. I need it. I'm gonna take a picture of one of those, do a workout in it or something.
Hey, man, are you bigger? Are you bigger now than when you was in the NFL?
Oh no, I've lost like 45 pounds, man. I lost like 45 pounds since I finished playing.
Hey, when I went on your IG, I said, man, Donald is ripped. I don't know what workout plan you want.
We'll talk about it. That's a whole nother discussion. But yeah, man, you know, I just, you know, that's another thing too. I put my health as one of my top priorities for the past like 3 years. So it's been one of the things where I've really focused on after going through my divorce as well, was making sure that I had let myself go a little bit, was putting myself as a priority, not just my children, but me too. Because I gotta be just as good as for myself as for them. And so if I'm not here, you know, so I got to make sure that I'm in tip-top shape. And I was tired of being overweight. You know, the offensive lineman chubby boy phase was over with, and I needed to do something about it. So, yeah.
Man, that's what's up, man. Man, I appreciate you, man. Thanks again for your time. Have a great night, man. And I'll holler at you later.
All right, brother. I appreciate it, man. Be good. Stay safe.
All right, will do, man. Take care. Have a great night.
Yes, sir.